Right now I can only surrender. Why did I meet this kind of misfortune? This house was apparently inhabited by psychopathic kidnappers and murderers. Don't tell your mom my real identity, I'll still be Alan. Please keep my identity a secret.
All right.
My stomach started to feel hungry. But I didn't want to eat anything they gave me. I was afraid that they would poison the food again.
Rose, please help me pack these things.
Okay.
I don't know what time it is. It seems like it's close to midnight. There's nothing I can do but surrender. I looked around this room. The door to this storeroom cannot be locked. If I managed to open this rope, I could easily get out of this room. If only my feet weren't tied, maybe I could grab something with my feet. I would have grabbed anything, so that I could use it to open the rope binding my hands. In this precarious situation, I remembered something. I'd read a few mystery novels about confinement like the one I was currently in. I remembered that the victim of the siege could open the duct tape binding her thighs with a certain technique. I'll give it a try. I looked at the situation and started to try out a technique I'd read about in a mystery novel. I tried to stand on my feet. It was very difficult, because the table legs that held my hands together were very short. Plus the adrenaline was so strong, it made my heart beat very fast. However, I kept trying to stand up with everything I had. And finally, I managed to half stand up. I held my half-standing position and performed a technique that could rip the duct tape off my thighs. I crossed my ankles that were bound by the duct tape, and tried to sit back down. Because my ankles were crossed, my thighs automatically opened wide and received a lot of energy to tear the duct tape. I managed to rip the duct tape off my thighs. The sound of the duct tape tearing wouldn't be heard by Rose and her mother, because it was covered by the sound of their chatter and the sound of goods being packed. By now, I could move my legs back and forth. I'm sweating profusely, my energy is almost gone. Now I began to move one of my legs to loosen the duct tape binding at the ankles. And it worked. One of my legs could be untied easily. I was really pressed for time. I had to quickly remove the rope in my hand, before they come back here. I already couldn't breathe regularly through my nose. I had to untie my hands. Luckily for me, when Rose left, she left behind the knife she had used to threaten me. I fumbled for the knife with my right foot. Both my legs could now move freely. It's so hard, oh my god. I kept trying to reach the knife. But it didn't work. This time, I tried hard to reach the knife with a hard stomp. Unfortunately, the knife kept getting away from me. Sweat was pouring down my face, not to mention my energy was now running out. I also hadn't eaten anything since this afternoon. My stomach is very hungry. The knife is still hard for me to reach. I was already exhausted. However, I didn't want to give up. I kept trying to reach the knife with my remaining strength. God, help me. My efforts came to a halt, when there was the sound of footsteps coming into this room. Shit. Rose had already returned to this room. It would be dangerous if she saw that the duct tape on my leg was already open. I quickly put the tape back in its original position and made myself look like I was asleep. Rose came and sat back down beside me. She was watching me. But luckily, she didn't notice that the duct tape on my legs had been ripped off. I opened my eyes slightly to see the situation. I saw Rose sitting next to me and closed her eyes. She's sleepy. Come on, Rose. Go to sleep. It was easier for me to take the knife when she was asleep. Suddenly, her mother entered the room where I was kept and immediately woke up Rose, who seemed to have fallen asleep.
Wake up, Rose. Keep an eye on him. A police spy can't be this easy to lock up. He must have the ability to escape from the confinement.
Rose woke up, then noticed me. Shit.
Mom, we should just leave him here. We don't need to kill him.
Why? What's wrong?
It will be more complicated if we kill him, because the police will definitely pursue us harder if they know that someone killed his spy.
That's right, we're already in so much trouble. Let's just leave him here to starve to death.
I heard it and shuddered in horror. It was that easy for them to discuss killing someone. I was traumatized by their conversation. The conversations of crazy psychopaths. I can't imagine how Sherlie would feel if it continued like this.
Alan, help me. I was actually forced to always call you by an old woman who kept me here. She told me to ask for your home address. The old woman promised to let me go when you told me your home address. Help me, Alan.
She must be mentally broken when she is forced to call Alan constantly. What is their relationship with Alan? I forgot to ask Rose about that. Apparently Rose doesn't know Alan. The real problem is with her mother. Maybe she knows Alan. Sherlie in Alan's note also said that an old woman with curly hair forced her. The old woman Sherlie was referring to was Rose's mother.
Rose. I want to rest for a while, I'm very sleepy.
Alright, Mom. Take it easy, I'll look after him.
Her mom left, leaving Rose and me alone in the room. I pretended to be awake. My aim this time was to make Rose sleepy by engaging her in conversation. There was no way I could sleep with this kind of anxiety and stress. Rose, do you know who Alan is?
I don't know him. It's all an act.
Maybe your mom knows him?
My mom didn't know Alan. She never hung out.
Are you also keeping Sherlie like this? She was silent. I began to see her eyes start to wither with sleepiness. I kept asking her questions to bore her and put her to sleep.
I don't know, Sherlie. I never knew what my mom did. Never mind. Don't ask so many questions. I'm so sleepy.
Then Rose suddenly fell limp on the floor and fell asleep. I did it. I was still wondering, what was the reason Rose's mom told Sherlie to call Alan? Meanwhile, Rose's mom didn't know Alan. But strangely, Sherlie claimed to know Alan from Rose's mom. There was something that made Rose's mom lock Sherlie up. Alan was said to be looking for Sherlie by Rose's mom. So Rose's mom actually wanted to catch Alan. But why didn't she look surprised when she met me when I claimed to be Alan? Right now, I'm also under arrest because I'm suspected of being a police spy. Not because I'm Alan. Strange. Neither Alan, Sherlie, Rose or her mother knew each other. But they're all interconnected. I can't get the answer now. I also remembered the mysterious man at the end of Alan's note. Perhaps, if Alan hadn't deleted the writing about that man, I could have gotten some answers. Just a little more. I still trying to pick up the knife that had slipped out of Rose's grasp. Come on. My strength was no longer strong. I rested for a while first. It's nearing the early hours of the morning. This time, I must be able to get the knife. There was no more time. I tilted my body slightly and started trying to get the knife again. Come on, a little more. Suddenly Rose was delirious and turned her body around to hit my leg, which was trying to pick up the knife. Shit, my foot was caught by her body. But lucky for me, the knife was getting closer to me. Because it was held by Rose's body, the knife no longer moved and I could easily grab it with my foot. I kicked the knife slightly towards me with the leg that was held by Rose's body. I deliberately let my leg be held by Rose's body. Rather than me pulling my leg and waking her up, the knife came close to my duct-taped hand. I managed to grab the knife by tilting my body to the side. I quickly tore off all the duct tape on my hands. All the duct tape on my hands had come off. My hands were free. I kept the knife on the floor, right next to my body for later use. I threw away the remaining duct tape on my hands, then pulled my legs off Rose's still sleeping body. I quickly stood up.
Where are you going?
But I was shocked when the knife that I had put away was now pointed at me. Turns out, Rose had already woken up and I hadn't realized it. Wait a minute, I'm not going anywhere. I tried to calm the situation.
Shut up. Sit down.
I obeyed. There was nothing I could do. My strength was gone. Moreover, there was a knife pointed at me.
Mommy!
Rose shouted, waking her mother. She was calling her mom. I couldn't stay silent. This time, I had to act. After all, my opponent was no match for me. I was clearly superior. I quickly parried the knife that was pointed at me, and it worked. The knife fell to the floor. I couldn't possibly hit Rose. So, I quickly ran out of the room towards the exit of the house. Shit, there was an object that quickly scratched my left hand while I was running. It turned out that Rose's mom had brought some broken glass from her room and scraped it onto my hand while I was running. Blood started pouring out of my hand. But I didn't care, I kept running towards the exit. Damn, the door was locked. I had to find another way. Through the window. I unlocked the window from the inside and it worked. The window was open. Rose's mother chased after me and almost stabbed me in the back with a knife that fell on the floor. In an instant, I parried the knife. The knife fell out of her hand. I was getting annoyed, was about to hit the old woman. But a wooden plank flew and almost hit my face. Fortunately, I was able to deflect it with my elbow before it actually hit my face. Rose. Apparently, it was Rose who threw the big wooden plank at me. I ran towards the highway with scratches on my hands and bruises on my elbows. The old woman saw me. But they didn't chase me because I was already too far away from their house. If they'd still gone after me, I would have screamed.
I will definitely find you, Alan. I'll find you at any cost.
I kept running with all my might. This was the worst experience of my life. Being held captive by crazy psychopaths. I don't know what I did wrong to them. I was just looking for Sherlie. I never knew what their problem really was. Oh my god. I saw my blood flowing. Not a single vehicle passed by. Plus the cold air and hunger made me even more weak. I couldn't run anymore.